had Paul Revere line it with copper. He did, 1802. 1870s, they put on that gold. It's been that way ever since. The original building is the brick building with the gold dome. The white wings were added years later. That's our Capitol building, Boston being the capital of Massachusetts. There are some statues on the property. Out of sight, but to my right, your left, up the stairs, there's a statue of John F. Kennedy, 35th president, born here in Brookline, Massachusetts. All the way in the corner, sitting down, we're out of sight, but there is a statue of Mary Dyer, one of the Quakers hanged on Boston Common, for no other reason than being of a different religion. She came back 3 times. They did make an example out of her. She wasn't the only Quaker to be hanged. She wasn't the only woman to be hanged. Now, years later, townspeople must have realized what they were doing. They must have got together and said something like, oops, maybe we're making a mistake, yeah. And they gave her a statue. I'm sure she's pleased about that. So this is stop number 1 and stop number 2. Any questions at this point?
Yes.
My question, yeah, go ahead.
Where do they hold the public duels?
Where do they hold the public?
Duels. The public duels.
Oh, where did they hold them? Yeah, where the duels. They were held almost all around Boston Common. Most popular was in front of John Hancock's house. That's right here. Yeah, right in front of his house was a public duel. Good question. And his house, we're going to talk a little bit later, but his house was right where that gold dome state house is today. Good question, thank you. Any other questions? So the gold dome, and don't get any ideas because security is really good. So we're going to continue. My question to you, are we ready to continue walking the Freedom Trail? Huzzah! Let's do it. We'll head in this direction. Good question, thank you. Yep. You take some of this and forth a little bit and then we'll do stuff maybe a little bit. Yeah,
So, what we heading again? Forgot.
So, my name is Pat Shannon, by the way. I'm with the Head of the Button Brigade.
Alright guys, there's some kind of protest over here.
So relevant today. So, I normally have a band record. I don't have a
Says
band.
veteran peace.
And you are the chorus.
I'm following my guy.
So, Pete Seeger used to say,
Shoot. That's you.
going into their ears. Let me tell you one thing. I was in the military intelligence, and I can tell you
I think I lost him. Anyways, we're on Park Street right now. The says Park Street Church. Okay. Mike, please.
So we'll cross the street when we get the safety of the lights. I sort of know when they're going to change. But we'll cross when we get the safety of the lights. And we'll cross as a group. I don't want anything to happen. Safety first. I don't want anything to happen. because the paperwork today is brutal. I mentioned Puritans. They ruled for about 50 years. Eventually the Puritans evolved. They evolved into the Congregational Church. This Congregational Church, one of the sites on the Freedom Trail, erected in 1809. This is where the Puritans eventually went to. Sunday school in America was founded here. First prison reform program started here. First missionary to Hawaii began here. That had to be a tough job. The sails to the USS Constitution, old Ironsides were sown here. During the War of 1812, once again a war with Great Britain, unheard of, but there was gunpowder stored in the basement of the church. 1829, famous abolitionist William Lloyd Garrison, to abolish slavery, gave his first speech here. I shall be heard, and heard he was, Massachusetts being one of the first states to abolish slavery. 1831, from these steps on July 4th, 1831, the song America, My Country 'Tis of Thee, was sung for the first time publicly, and sung to the tune of God Save the Queen. This is one of the sites on the Freedom Trail, one of the sites on our tour. Our questions at this point. So my question to you, are we ready to continue walking the Freedom Trail? Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, kind of. Not really. It's a Veterans for Peace protest.
I Alright guys, now we're on a cemetery spot.
It needs to be Starbucks, which is hard.
Let's see what I was gonna say.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ethiopia.
Oh, well, welcome.
Thank you. Yes.
So this is called the Granary Burial Ground. Granary. Granary is a barn. And that barn stood where the church is, long before the church was built, called the Granary. When they needed another burial ground, they took part of the Granary property and built this burial ground. This is the third oldest burial ground in Boston, 1660. We're going to be in here for about 15, 20 minutes. Walk around to the final resting stops of Paul Revere, Sam Adams, John Hancock. We are looking up at the tomb of Franklin. That is Benjamin Franklin's mother and father, brothers and sisters of the Franklin family. Benjamin Franklin was born in Boston, 1706. Left as a young man to go to Philadelphia, spending many years in France and in England. Benjamin Franklin was buried in Philadelphia. And that is the resting stop of his mother and father and brothers and sisters. We're going to continue our tour in this direction.
Oh, the
Seems
ghost
like a
has
nice
come home.
guy. He's the first one. Hey, thank you. Thank you.
The ghost has come home.
Yeah, that's a ghost tour.
Hold on.
Final resting place of me.
Yeah, let's get your pictures.
This is the greatest speaker of the day. And back in the day, the greatest speaker for the rights of the colonies. Let's go over to this alcove. We'll talk about James Otis, the first patriot. We'll continue. So again, keep in mind, James Otis, the first patriot, first one to speak up in all of the colonies that we should have rights, and rights we should have. Harvard educated, attorney, I present to you the handsome James Otis. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Arguing on a daily basis. We may be a royal colony, but we should have rights, and rights we should have. Arguing all of the taxes coming over from England. I argued against the Stamp Act. I argued against the Sugar Act, tax on molasses. I argued against the taxes on glass, paper, lead, ink. I was the one that coined the phrase, taxation without representation is tyranny. Thank you. I argued a case in 1761, a case called the Writs of Assistance. What's that? Sounds like cereal. But it's a search warrant. You don't have the right to come into our homes anytime you want to. We must have rights. In this country, our Fourth Amendment comes directly from the argument of James Otis, so many years before. Our Fourth Amendment protects us against illegal search and seizures. That argument went on for 5.5 hours at the old State House. 5.5 hours. I was the only one speaking. Saying things like, I was saying things like, a man's house is his castle. If a man behaved quietly there, he must be as well protected as any prince. In the audience was a young patriot taking notes by the name of John Adams, listening to James Otis argue that case in front of the British government with their long powdered wigs. A couple of days after that argument, John Adams wrote in the Boston Gazette about that speech and about James Otis. John Adams wrote, James Otis was a flame of fire